Hello everyone! Welcome to the first in what I hope will be a series about games that are new for 2022. I really love playing classic indie games and RPGs, but I wanted to introduce some freshness to my roster. So we'll be searching for demos of games to be released this year and then playing them for your viewing pleasure. Hopefully you will see something you enjoy and can look forward to at some point this year.
Driven from our homes by the toxic spores, we kept wandering, looking for shelter. But not in our wildest dreams did we imagine what we would find.
Kicking things off, we have The Wandering Village, a gorgeous game from Swiss indie developers Fawn Studio. Based in Zurich, they look like quite the jolly bunch from their lovely picture shown at the beginning. As I said, this is a demo and the full game will be released in spring or summer 2022. Okie dokie, let's begin. So it looks as though we've just been introduced to Ombus Mumblemore, who I am sure is absolutely no relation to any other well-known characters in popular culture. And he has just informed us that we will be taking over the running of this village. Now the Wandering Village is billing itself, it has a unique angle as a symbiotic simulator. So your life and the life of this majestic beast on which you live are closely intertwined. So anything that affects you negatively will probably end up affecting him negatively, and vice versa. So I think that adds quite an interesting twist to the usual city builder resource management sims that we have at the moment. This is actually what really attracted me to the game in the first place. I do love a good, theme park, hospital, city builders, simulator, but I wanted something just a little bit different, and I believe that this game has the potential to fill that gap. Ooh, oh, lovely! So we have our first view of Onbu. Oh, what a handsome chap! Absolutely huge. Imagine how big he is to have a whole entire village living on him. Yeah, wow. Okay, so it looks as though so his back that we will be surviving on features all the classic resources, rocks, trees, we've got grass, we've got dirt, we've got berries, I think there's some mushrooms scattered about, we've got some water. It doesn't look as though we have any actual well or anything like that, obviously, so we'll have to find our water elsewhere. The world map is quite cool. You have to walk around to explore it. It doesn't just obviously show you the whole thing straight away, and there's lots of little plots of trees or rocks or abandoned settlements that you can go and explore when you have the right skills. You can go and explore them and get resources and materials, but I think that's all a bit far ahead in the future, and right now what we need is some tents. We're going to have to start a little bit lower. We can't reach exploration yet if we don't even have somewhere to sleep. As this is a demo, I thought I would have a look at the website to see if I could glean any further fun facts for anyone who is interested in a brand new city builder and resource management game. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is being billed as a symbiotic simulator, where you are the leader of a group of nomads desperately clinging on for survival. Something traumatic has occurred in this world, and these villagers have been forced into running away from mysterious and yet deadly plant spores that have taken over the region. These spores are poisonous. Beware and pay close attention, because if you find yourself trapped in these spores for too long, well, then you never know what bad things might happen. Luckily for us, our intrepid bands of nomads have discovered an ancient beast called an onbu, previously thought to be extinct. our fellow nomads have decided to build a village on Onbu's back, and this marks the start of our gameplay and our symbiotic relationship with Onbu. The aim of the game is to build a village, build a community, keep your people happy and healthy, and explore the environment, exploit it for what you can, for whatever's left, and support your meandering giant to help him stay strong. Obviously, we need to learn from whatever mistakes have happened in the past that led to these Day of the Triffid type spores from taking over, and we need to be very, very careful with balance. You need to have quite some skill in balancing your use, making sure you don't strip the place or take far too much or take it at the wrong time. You need to be good at balancing priorities, at keeping an eye out on any sudden changes, and you also need to be very good at staying on top of your resource levels. Now hopefully one day, at some point, we will find a safer place to live permanently. I'm obviously not sure of the actual ending to this game, because this demo does not want to spoil anything for us, and I do not want to spoil anything for myself, but I am already excited to see how far we can travel and where we will be able to guide our Onbu. Every decision has consequences, which I found to be a really interesting gameplay mechanic amongst many interesting gameplay mechanics in this game. You really need to be able to predict the future a little bit, and you need to be ready for anything. The Wandering Village, I was about to say the Wonderful Village, it is a wonderful village. The Wandering Village so it was funded via Kickstarter. It had a successful Kickstarter campaign in 2020, and is now on a sort of demo beta testing phase in 2022. At the moment it's available on Steam for release in spring summer, but I believe there's an Xbox release planned as well. At some point in the future, I'm not sure whether it will be at the same time. I am currently playing on a laptop, and it runs incredibly smoothly. All the movements are smooth, they're flowing, there's no juddering about or sudden cuts or anything like that. The zooming and scrolling, it's very slick and flowing, which fits in quite well, I think, with the story, the plot, the aesthetics. The movement just feels very natural. The controls are straightforward as well, which is always good. I had no trouble picking up all the commands. And speaking of aesthetics, actually, the art style, I find it to be absolutely gorgeous. I love hand-drawn games, and The Wandering Village actually features a mix of 3D art and hand-drawn, hand-animated 2D art and graphics as well, which just really add to the atmosphere. The amount of artistry and the amount of effort that went into this game is you can see it. I think you can see it, and it reflects the beauty of the environment around you as well, because there's actually quite a lot of detail in the backgrounds and in each individual building or dwelling. There's lots of tiny little details and little bits and bobs that you can zoom in and explore. Here on the screen now, you can see the research tree, and this is where planning for the future and using your resources and deciding what sort of leader you want to be really comes into play. Each route of this tree leads you to different goals, so you can decide which to focus on. That Hornblower I just selected is part of Onbu management, that delicate science, and will hopefully at some point help you to decide where Onbu walks. On the map you come up to junctions sometimes, and if your Onbu trusts you, you can tell him which way to go. This is great, and I love it. It's such a fun little thing. Oh, and something else I love is that all of your villagers have names. They all have names, they all have needs, they all have different jobs, and you can click on every single one of them to see what they're up to. The Fawns is here, everyone's here. I have no idea if the names change, every time you make a new game or anything like that, but it is another sweet detail that I love. But what about all the difficult stuff? Well, you definitely will face hardships in this game. The aforementioned spores will spread poison, they will multiply if you let them get on your onbu, they'll poison all your people, you'll run out of food, you'll run out of water, you'll have to send out search parties to oases. If you don't manage this properly, your people will starve. There's a little pop-up here right now. I'm being told that many of my villagers are starving. Take care of them. Oh god, okay, great. Well, I mean, who knew that being in charge of people didn't only mean having power, but it also means actually feeding them. I mean, well, in my defence, nobody actually told me it was illegal. But anyway, I had better do something about this. I can build a farm, which I probably should have done ages ago. I can build more berry picking huts, which I also probably should have prioritised ages ago, because right now I have a grand total of 0 stockpiled, so I am doing so well. Wow. I have built my farm now. I will choose a plot around it once it's finished construction. I'm in the process of building new berry gathering huts. My people all have little empty stomachs floating above their heads, and I am so sorry, and I will try to fix this. But there is something else that I might be able to do about this, and it involves sending some of my people out on hunts from the Scavenger Hut. Now, once you have researched this and built the launching point, which I assume it's a launching point, I assume that they launch and fly, you don't actually see them leave, but I think that, maybe in the future at some point that would be quite a great little animation to add in, if that's at all possible. But once you've staffed the launching point, they will soar into the empty wilderness on your behalf and explore the dusty wastes or the impervious mountains or whatever unknown reaches that currently surround you. And you can click on various notable points on the map and choose where to send your adventurers. Each point will provide different resources, for example water or stone or maybe even people. Some of these people might be sick or poisoned, or maybe they'll be really hale and hearty workers, ready to assist with building this little community. The scavengers will automatically bring back whatever they find. During this demo, I only travelled through desert and mountain biomes, so I'm not sure whether different resources will be available in different regions, but that might be an interesting thing to have a look at when the full version comes out. I'll be looking out to see what what more resources could be available to us. Okay, so we've sent out a little search party. They've nearly finished. They have returned from an expedition and have brought back 45 water. That is excellent, because my resource management is atrocious and I currently have no food, no wood, 1 plank of wood, no stone slabs. I only have 5 buckets of water left, but for some reason I have absolutely loads of mushrooms, which, I don't know, what are we going to do with that? We could all just that's onbu food, so that's not going to help us. So according to the map, I can, it looks like there's a couple of other oases around. The onbu kitchen, oh, there we go, that's something else we can do. So we've got an onbu kitchen, but what we need to feed onbu is a trebuchet. Onbu feeding trebuchet. So let's research that. It looks as though according to our map, we've got quite a few sets of nomads on our path. You can see them there, so you can pick up these other groups as you walk past them, and they will add, maybe they'll add workers, maybe they will just take up your resources, who knows. Pick them up and find out and see whether you can take care of them properly while still managing the whole community. The next thing as well, so we've got the feeding trebuchet being researched, but we've successfully constructed a hornblower, and this hornblower is what will help us issue commands to the Onbu, and if he wants to, if he feels like it and if he trusts us, hopefully he will listen, and he can lay down. We can ask him politely to walk. If we're in danger, we can encourage him to pick up the speed a little bit and run. But here we can see Onbu sits. Onbu's having a little sit down. We've asked him to lie down. He's agreed. He's lying down. We're about to come upon some more nomads, and then in the distance it looks as though there's also so you might have seen sunshine blazing down, and that means in a moment we're going to be experiencing a period of very high heat, which is going to affect our crops and probably also our people as well. So we need to think ahead a little bit and consider that and take that into account. I mean, I have 2 buckets of water left, so if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I don't think you should pay attention to my play style. Do as I say, not as I do. I think that's what's happening here. I have mentioned backgrounds and biomes a couple of times, and I would like to delve into them just a little bit deeper. The map shows different colours relating to each biome, as well as the weather effects that are specific to each one. So at the moment we are in a desert, and there is a small patch of high temperature ahead which will cause negative effects and negative reactions, as will the cold snap even further ahead in the mountainous zone. People might succumb to the temperature change, or perhaps crops will die off, leading to starvation. As I said, I have only seen the desert and the mountains, but something I like is that you can see the changes in biome and environment around you and behind you as you are moving. The background actually moves when you do and changes in front of you over time, which I think adds to the immersion. You really need to pay attention and survey the area and map your surroundings to ensure that you can gather what you need to survive. I think it's time we took a closer look at my little village. Let's zoom in and see the gorgeous artistry on show. As I talked about earlier, the Wandering Village combines 3D and hand-drawn, hand-animated 2D to excellent effect. You can see the detail, the shadows, all these little objects, you can see everything being carried above people's heads. You can see all of these beautiful muted autumnal colours. You can see the breeze even, gently blowing the clothes of your people. You can see little windmills in the distance, the berries growing on the trees. You can hear everything as well. You can see them meandering about. I just really love it. I think it's beautiful. I also love the sound design. You can also see when you're zoomed in the background moving. As I mentioned, you can see the background sort of bobbing a little bit as our Onbu continues to stride ahead. The decorations, the flags, everything. I just think it's stunning. In a demonstration of Onbu management, or a case study in how not to do things, my Onbu is sadly starving. His food circle is flashing at the top right corner, and there's a sharp red message waiting for me at the bottom left. I have now constructed the Onbu feeding trebuchet, and I have researched the Onbu doctor, so hopefully between them this goes some way to saving him. If our Onbu dies, we all die. His health is an incredibly serious matter, and I have neglected it, and I am sorry, Onbu, you poor little thing. But I will try and help you now. But now we have the Hornblower, so we can try and direct him a little bit and choose our way at junctions. There is an Onbu feeding spot up ahead which has not been poisoned, so if we can reach that in time, or craft some Onbu food in our Onbu kitchen in time, then he should be able to make it. We do need lots of mushrooms for his food, so this stage sort of relies on my workers running quickly enough between the harvesting and the kitchen to craft it within a certain amount of time. It does look as though we were successful though, and we have cooked some delicious Onbu food, so hopefully he likes it, and hopefully he will live to meander through these beautiful environments for another day. Shattering our peace and quiet, there is a poisonous bloom up ahead which threatens to destroy our struggling village. We have no choice but to push on and hope or pray for the best. The spores will engulf us and poison the villagers and Onbu. Unfortunately, because Onbu does not fully trust our commands yet, he will not run. So we need to sort of desperately assume that we'll make it. Adding to the stress, Onbu is tired and could just stop and flop down at any time. If he sleeps in this toxic cloud, then I'm afraid we are done for. I just do not have anywhere near enough decontaminators because I am a bad forward planner, and I forgot all about the poison blooms, so I will need to rely on my people literally just manually punching the poison trees which pop up and spread all over the place. But I think I've caused enough damage during this playthrough, so I'm going to try again another time, but for now let's rewind to happier times for a little roundup. So there we have it. That was a quick show and tell for The Wandering Village, a symbiotic simulator game which combines city building and resource management with symbiosis gameplay. I think you'll agree that this is a fascinating new title, and I hope that you enjoyed my video. Let me know what you thought, and overall I would highly recommend this game to anyone who enjoys building, creating, exploring, and especially those who enjoy hand-drawn artwork. The art style and aesthetics were particular standouts for me, and I will eagerly await the full release. I will put some links in the description for anyone who is interested. In the meantime, please excuse me because I have a magnificent beast to look after. See you next time!